Listen, there's this new Netflix show that was getting dumped on before it even came out, but if you've ever seen any LME video, you know we're big believers in not judging something until you watch it, because you can catch the subtleties, the intricacies. This show's trash. It is one of the trashiest shows out there. Now, when I say it's trashy, I don't mean like it's boring or completely bad, because this thing is very entertaining. It's clear that they wanted to achieve something with it, a thematic message, but like in a vulgar, comedic way, and, you know, sometimes it missed the mark for a lot of people with lines like,
"He's a child molester," which means I might actually have a shot.
So while there's definitely a theme in there, and, you know, I give them credit for trying to go all balls out and making the show as vulgar as can be, but, you know, maybe they bit a bit more than they could chew. Let me explain. So if Netflix shows were like fast food, this one would give you diabetes. Somehow this thing is actually based off of a real story between a lawyer who runs beauty pageants and a bully victim. The real lawyer actually has his own reality show called Coach Charming.
Do you have a dog?
I do.
I just killed it.
But in the series Insatiable, Debbie Ryan is living the sweet life on sweets since
I was at home stuffing another hole.
Meanwhile, Bob's dream has always been to win a beauty pageant, but he coaches some of the dumbest contestants ever.
Isis? Like Italian ices? I love him. Orange is my favorite. Thank you.
What gets the ball rolling between these two is that Patty gets punched in the face by a homeless person over a Snickers bar, which causes her to lose a lot of weight because she has a broken jaw, has to go on a juice diet, but then also has to show up in court because she did get into a fight. That's where Bob comes in, since he got accused of child molestation since he couldn't help a girl win the crown.
He touched her hoo-hoo.
What? No.
So because of that, obviously no one's going to hire him for a case, so he has to work pro bono for Patty, who falls in love with him as soon as she sees him.
He's a child molester, which means I might actually have a shot.
And look, I get sarcasm, right? But this girl right here is ready to jump the gun. She goes to an AA meeting with her mom where she finds the homeless dude who's trying to recover. Obviously, he doesn't recognize her since she's lost so much weight. And she decides that the best way to exact revenge on this man, and I guess thank him for the weight loss, is to have sex.
I'm gonna screw that guy.
You mean like screw him over?
No, I mean like bang him.
She actually goes to a hotel room with him, but dips before they smash, and because this guy is like lighting up a cigarette, the entire room gets set on fire. That means that now she's in an even bigger legal case if they connect her to it, but her best friend, who clearly wants to taste her rainbow, joins forces with Donald, who works at the convenience store, who they catch jacking off outside. Is everyone a pervert? Patty tries to pretend she was drunk that night so that they can't connect her to the case, but she gets too drunk, has to go to the hospital to get her stomach pumped, and in the hospital, she actually locks eyes with the homeless man who recognizes her, but she's using the force and kills the homeless dude just by staring at him?
I wanted him dead. And then he was. And I was happy.
At this point, Bob and Patty are working together to win a pageant, but their biggest competition is Hot Bob, who's got a hot wife, a hot daughter, and is also a lawyer who competes in pageants, but they've been rivals since elementary school, since everybody always loves Hot Bob over regular Bob. He decides that the best way to train Patty is to take her to his Mrs. Miyagi, the lady who taught him everything about pageants, but since he also had an affair with this lady, she's also out to get him. They end up pulling an Ed Wood along the way and get baptized just to qualify for regionals at a church pageant.
Please, 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 please ride me deep, deep, deep in my holy Father.
And it's while they're there that she ends up falling in love with the pastor's demonic kid. They run away, they have sex, and she gets pregnant. But the thing is, she's not pregnant with a child.
It's a parasitic twin that you consumed in utero.
Wait, you're saying that I could have been a twin, but I ate it?
How? Turns out she's been eating since before she came out the womb, and at this point, the pastor, who's there to qualify her, refuses to do so because she believes there to be a demon inside of her, like the unborn, and tries to exorcise it out of her. So pretty much we go from miscongeniality to the conjuring. They then test out a Ouija board.
T-Y. Hi, fatty?
And get trolled by the homeless guy from beyond the grave. They Google how to exorcise a demon. Bob pulls an Ed Warren and does the exorcism where the twin named Kitty it gets really weird. Out of all of that, it turns out he comes out too.
When you say I'm gay, I feel like you don't see I'm not gay.
Turns out the reason both Bobs hate each other is because they both secretly love each other and they were just trying to hide it.
Do you feel that you embody the fruits of the Spirit?
I mean, yeah. I feel like my insides are appropriately fruity.
And while Bob's wife feels heartbroken at first, she kind of also has a thing for Hot Bob and just says, "Let's get it on." We find out Patty's dad is some random Baldwin brother named Gordy, ironically named Gordy, and her mom decides that the best way to help her daughter is by restarting her own adult life and then just completely leaving her daughter alone. Patty's best friend gets a girlfriend and moves on from her. Turns out that Bob has a secret daughter with Mrs. Miyagi somehow, who's actually using him to rig the pageants while his eldest daughter is in rehab for doing too many pageants. And then at the end, an attempted kidnapping happens, followed by a real kidnapping that results in another kidnapping, all to win pageants. You would think that by the end of the 12 episodes, we would finally get to the pageant that everyone's been talking. No. We don't even get that. Turns out this Treyway ain't gonna work out since Bob only wants to let his nuts hang for him and not for her. So Bob needs to make a decision, but because he can't pick between his wife and his lover, he decides to leave the cannoli, takes the gun, and right before he offs himself, he gets another call from Patty. Now, Patty has created more enemies throughout this entire thing than Drake, right? She's to the point of even having to escape in a wiener costume after getting kidnapped by Mrs. I'm not going to cover all that. But throughout that, she's also created some stalkers. Preacher's son, who was obsessed with demons, who thought he got her pregnant, appears once again at the final episode, confessing his love for her as he's kidnapped Hot Bob's daughter in order to help her win the pageant. And he even asked Patty to help him kill her together, so they can bond. Patty doesn't want to do so, so after he berates her and tells her that she is a bad person, she's the villain of the story, Patty decides to correct him by responding with,
I'm a good person! I'm a good person! I'm a good person! I'm a good person!
Bob arrives and they drown the car with his body, as both of them are legit now murderers, and they stare into the camera, hoping for a second season. So now let me play you a montage of some of the wildest one-liners and scenes from this show that I sat through.
C-A my N-word. The 1049 A my N-word.
You are groping me.
And if anyone's gonna get groped, it's gonna be me.
Urgent business.
Oh my God, are you taking a picture of your hoo-ha?
Your Napoleon Bonaparte.
Your Pacific Rim job?
You wanna suck on a tea? Come here.
I'm super tight. You look really loose to me.
I am not Asian. I am adopted.
Taking back the slurs that women are bombarded with every day is shocking and empowering.
What, didn't you just say there's nothing wrong with being gay?
Not for you.
Are you sure we should, sexualize ourselves?
Yeah, it's for a good cause.
I had no map, no phone, just a weenie suit slowing me down.
Getting sheet-faced is my favorite tradition.
Now nobody's eating my wieners.
As the face of CACA, your charity, the Center for Anal Cancer Awareness.
KKK?
The KKK, that's who you want to invest in Tampazo?
They love tampons. They're white.
Now, for 1 second, let me give the show credit, right? I do think that it's funny, it's got a funny cast and crew, and it's also even more hilarious, the outside reception, when everyone who worked on this is super shocked about how people are feeling about the show. I don't think that their intent was bad, right? Their intent was to use humor to get a message across, even if all the jokes don't land, but there are a couple of good scenes within there, right? There are moments between the daughter and the mom. There's a trans actress that appears in episode 5 who's trying to make a statement about acceptance. There's a couple of great lines like these.
Don't be the most you can be, because who you are is ugly.
And even a scene where she pulls a Timothy Chalamet and eats through the credits to show her sad relapse. This was good. If you could actually watch the entire credits all the way to the end, and she's actually crying in the background. But look, I know the writer specifically wanted to tackle the dark road revenge leads you to, but in a very vulgar way. And while I can take the jokes as fiction, it's very clear that the internet has this very big cancel culture, and the most ironic thing about it is that some of the people on the show are the ones who created that culture. So the show may not be for everyone, but I don't think it's boring. It's corny, it's trashy, it's vulgar, and overall, I think it teaches an important lesson to never lose weight, because you might end up killing someone in a wiener outfit while you're running for a pageant. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Definitely let me know what other crazy shows are out there that you think I should cover. If you liked the show, if you didn't, boom, I got a road trip that I'm coming on. If you have any recommendations, let me know. You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram where I'll be updating stuff like that. Pretty much, I watched the show and I decided, you know what, I need a 2-week vacation. So yeah, this is probably the end of Let Me Explain, unless you comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll send you a Costco cake to celebrate our return.